Buccaneers' new uniforms are out. They look like the old ones. It's going to be good to see those at the Super Bowl again in a few months. It's going to be very exciting. Rick Bucher's now joining us. So, Bukes, I was thinking about this. Adam Silver was the first commissioner to say, going to pull the plug on this. And I also like that he said yesterday, listen, we're not going to make any projections. Let's get into May, which I thought was very smart. I mean, do you kind of think they should resume as soon as possible?
I think they should resume as soon as they believe that it's possible. And by that I mean the number one thing for them is to be able to test on a daily basis and get the tests back immediately. It's going to be a distorted playoff.
Right.
And I don't know that there's going to be any sort of regular season. There may be a play-in set up. They've been talking about wanting to experiment with that anyway, so that gives them the opportunity. But look, here's the key. They want to bring everybody together. They want to isolate them. They want to create an NBA bubble. But they also want to make certain that while they are keeping the public safe, that they're keeping their own players and personnel safe. And to do that, they need to be able to test on a daily basis,
right,
everyone, and get the immediate results back so that if somebody tests positive, they can take them out of the pool or
right,
they can quarantine them for 2 weeks. As I said, it's going to be an extraordinary situation, but the second that they have that, and what they're betting on is that the technology will be there for testing, in 2-3 weeks, and that they can then or a month, and then say, mid-May, hey, we're coming back June 1st. We're going to start. We've got the wherewithal to do this. And then it's a matter of convincing actually, it's not. It's utilizing their monetary leverage over the players to get them to do it because they are going to be carrying the most risk.
How much does Silver need the backing of his star players?
Actually, it's a difficult situation because in this case, the star players have the least to lose. It's the players, it's the rank and file who are going to lose money that they may never get back.
That's right.
And so that's where it's really going to be a matter of putting the pressure on all of the players and saying, look, you're going to lose. You're not going to get paid for the rest of the year if we don't come back and play. The reason that it's a high risk for them is not just the potential of getting the virus, but it's you're going straight into the playoffs. The injury risk factor is going to be enormous, and you're going to be playing under very unusual circumstances. You're probably going to have to separate everybody from their families for 4 to 8 weeks. The players will have to make the greatest sacrifice, no question about it. But the owners in the league have the leverage of saying, you guys could miss as much as, based on if they're paid over a 12-month basis, you guys could be missing a third of your normal paycheck and annual paycheck. And that would be a big sum for a lot of guys.
Oh, far more than it wouldn't be. By the way, I think I talked to Doug Gottlieb on the phone at home the other day, and I said, I'm LeBron James. I'm in my 17th year. I'm having an MVP season. My roster is just going to get older. I don't know how many more great years I have. I think LeBron wants to play, but I've heard you disagree with that.
Yeah, I do, simply because, and you're right, like the clock is ticking. The team's going to get older, but think about how we look at this season right now. LeBron is the MVP. LeBron has the Lakers first in the Western Conference. A lot of people will give him the championship or something close to. If we have no champion named this year, it will be the year of LeBron by default. Now, if they come back and play, he's at a major disadvantage, and it's not because there won't be fans in the building. Nobody's going to have fans rooting for him. No, there's not going to be any home court advantage. But he set this up in order for them to have home court advantage. At 35, he may not have looked like it, but it takes a tremendous amount for him to not look 35. He looks across the way and he's looking at Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Giannis Antetokounmpo, all these guys in their 20s, and he's saying, okay, wait a minute, we got 2 to 4 weeks to get ready, and then we're going to play playoff basketball. I'm 35. The chances of that going sideways for me and the Lakers being the second oldest team in the league, it's a bad bet. So and again, I say all of this based on listening to the podcast with Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye, in which they brought up all these things. And it was LeBron who just came up with one reason after another why he wouldn't want to play under the terms of what they're going to have to play under. So this isn't mind reading as much as it is. If he had said, look, we're first, we got home court, like we've done all this. I've done all this. I want to finish this. I want to win a championship. I don't want to quit on this now. If he had said anything to that end, I'd say, okay, he's still in to win it. Everything I heard was, this is a bad bet for me.
Yeah. Oh, is the NBA, 3 minutes left. NBA, are they pretty comfortable if they do restart it? Let's say they have a 15-day camp. Would they just go right into the playoffs? Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them trying to have some sort of a play-in game or play-in series where you take, whether it's the 8th and the 9th, or you take the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th and play for those last two spots. I think they would love to set up something like that. They've wanted to experiment with that anyway. But in terms of having like regular season games, look, the reality is teams that aren't in the playoff picture right now or close to it, I can't imagine that any of those guys are thinking that the Knicks and the Warriors are not thinking we're going to resume our season. And so how you would have any sort of regular season games, I think would be a challenge. Do
you think there'll be a big pushback from the media? Media generally likes the underdog. The NBA is the underdog to the NFL. What if they start back in 5-6 weeks? Any media pushback on certainly not going to hurt Trump if the economy comes back? And I mean, honestly, I think about stuff like that. Will they take heat from the media if they come back and a player gets sick?
If a player gets sick or there's a rash of, there's a bunch of guys that get quarantined. Yeah. That is when all hell will break loose, and that's really what they want to make certain that they can avoid. Other than that, I don't know about you, Colin, but as selfish as it might be, I would love for us to get back to some sort of normalcy and have like real things happening on the court, on the field, for us to dissect.
Yeah, I agree. So you up in the Bay Area right now?
I am, and after multiple days of rain, which had me really stir crazy, it is gorgeous out, and I am going to keep my social distance, but I am going to find a way to get outside today because we live on the coast and we're fairly separated. We're not in a dense area. I don't know about you, man, but the last 4 or 5 days, I was taking the beginning of this pretty well. Last 4 or 5 days have been a little rough.
No, absolutely, and I feel lucky. I got a backyard and a pool, and I'm in a neighborhood where you can walk around. Believe me, I've talked to a lot of New York friends. 1,200 square feet, bunch of kids. Oh, brutal. Brutal.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah, Either can I. It's really rough for a lot of people. Rick, good talking to you.
You got it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can be. It's different. There's different experiences. If you're in Texas and you got 2 acres, this is a different experience than if you're in New York with 1,200 square feet with 3 kids. So it is. The California experience is spread out. Most of the western, even in California, you got 39 million people. It's a big state. You could put 4 or 5 eastern states on the seaboard next to it in terms of geographical size. And so I get to go out for walks, put the mask on. Everybody's got a mask on in my neighborhood that walks. I can jump in the pool. I can do things. I have great sympathy because for a lot of people in New York, that is not their reality. I have a friend in Rome right now. He would not leave his house. They were handing out fines in Rome if you walked out of your apartment and you did not go to the store or the pharmacy. So it is, listen, there's a lot of people out there, they call it cabin fever. I think it's worse than that for a lot of people. Hugh Jackson next hour. Coming up next, all-decade team. One guy shouldn't be on it. That's next. The Herd.